Hey everybody, Wade Steele here. I am here to show you another quick little tutorial on Ableton Live. What we're going to do is get set up with just a basic click setup. So we're not going to introduce any kind of audio loops or MIDI type stuff. This is just going to be a simple click track. So the first thing you want to do when you open up your project, save it. Always be saving, constantly be saving. I've never ever had Ableton Live crash on me, but it's just in case. Second thing you want to do is come to your cue out and your master out down here. And depending on what kind of audio device you have hooked up to it, the simplest way to do it is just use the headphone jack. So on your cue out, you want to have that left. Usually by default, it comes up as 1 and 2 for both your cue out and your master out. Your cue out is your click. It's the internal click that's in the software itself. I know some guys will actually come to the audio section and create click tracks, and I've done that as well. But for this tutorial, we're going to use the built-in click track, a click metronome that's in Ableton Live. So what we want to do is split the signal up. So we're going to have our cue out going out number 1, or the left headphone jack, and master out will be number 2, which will be the right side of the headphone jack. That way you can take separate signals to your sound guy or gal, to your sound person, sound personnel. So now once we have that set up, the third thing you need to know is you want to make sure that your click track is enabled. This is your click track enable button. If it's off and you go to play, you will hear nothing. Once you select it and it turns green, you actually hear the click track. So that's what we want. So make sure that track is enabled. Now you're pretty much set up with click track. So now what we want to do is assign specific tempos to a scene. Now a scene is your tracks that are actually flipped horizontal. So this whole section right here is scene number 1. This is all scene number 2. The gray area is scene number 3. So it includes all the tracks along that scene. We can actually right click on a scene and tell it to start at a specific tempo. So what you do is you right click, sorry it's cut out of the screen there a little bit, and go down to edit launch tempo. And you'll see the BPMs pop up. So our first song is at 147, then you hit enter, bam, you're done. Now that every time you hit on that arrow, it's going to start at 147 BPM. Now the second thing we want to do is come down here and do the same thing to our next scene, which we'll say this is at 116. I'm just making these up out of thin air. Go to your next song, edit launch, and we'll do this one at 79. So now you're set, you're ready to go. Now the thing that you want to remember is, not quite yet, we're not to that point, sorry about that. So now we have our scene set up with the various tempos. We're good to go. Now what we want to do is assign keys on my computer that will trigger each scene. So how we do that is we go up here to the key button, select it, and you'll notice the various areas that can be altered or controlled are shaded light green. So what we're going to do is select our first scene, and here it's already assigned to A, but I'm going to reassign it to the Q key. So now when I hit the Q button, it's going to assign and start that scene. We'll go to the second scene or second song, and I'm going to assign that to W, and then the third we'll go ahead and assign to the E key. Now we've got those scenes assigned to triggers on our computer keyboard. So now we want to get out of key mode, go back to song mode, so that when we're actually able to click those buttons, you can see it's selecting those various deals. Now the thing we want to remember here is this little button right here. You want this selected so it's green. If you try and hit the keys on your keyboard and nothing happens, it's because your keyboard is not enabled. So you're wanting to enable that by turning it green. That way when you hit the button that is assigned to that scene, it's going to start it up. So now we're ready to go. You're ready to go. You've got your keys assigned, you got your tempo set, and you are ready to go with a basic click. Hope this has helped. If you got any questions, drop me an email, wadesteele@gmail.com. See you later.